everybody. Welcome to our morning meeting. We're back. I'm back, I should say. Welcome, welcome. We are here with Gaia, our great horned owl, and it is a little windy, so just bear with us on the sound. But good morning. Let me know if you're here. Let me know if you're tuning in, and I'll give you a shout out. We are here with Gaia, our beautiful great horned owl ambassador. She is the largest species of owl that we have at the center, and the largest species that we really see full year round in Maine. So super excited to have her out. We haven't used her in a while because she's got quite a busy job to do. So hi everybody, good morning, welcome, welcome. Let me know if you're here. Good morning, Charlie in Freeport. Hello. We are going to be out here with Gaia for the next little bit, but it is pretty windy here thanks to Hurricane Laura finally picking up some speed. So let me know if you can hear me okay. I'll try to speak loudly. Usually not a problem with me, but good morning, everybody. Hello, welcome. Let me know. It's okay. It's okay. Good girl. Let me know if you're here, and I'll give you guys a shout out. Gaia is our beautiful great horned owl and female ambassador. We do have a male as well, but he sticks to being a companion for Gaia and a wonderful foster dad. He does not go out on programs. He really doesn't like being handled, but Gaia is fantastic. We've had Gaia for about 8 years now, and she has been with us ever since she was a tiny little baby nestling or branchling. So what happened most likely with Gaia, we believe, is that she sustained an injury to her wing when she was in the nest. And this happens for many reasons. They get jostled around, maybe one of their siblings pecks at them, or you know, they're wrestling or something, and she broke her elbow. So you guys can see how this wing on her right side sticks out a little bit. It hangs. She's not actually able to raise that up and tuck it up like this wing over here. So bird wings typically sit like this. Their elbow is down here. Their shoulder is more in their body, so it would be in her feathers. And then the wrist is what we typically will see, and all of those beautiful feathers coming off that wrist right there, kind of in front. Good morning, Kim. Hello. So Gaia most likely was injured in the nest, and she broke her elbow. So she is no longer really able to hold up her wrist, and that's why you see it kind of sticking out like that. And because she was injured in the nest, and there's not proper medical care up in, 60-foot tall pines, her injury, you're okay. Is it windy? Yeah. Her injury was not properly treated or tended to, and it kind of set in this really nasty ball of scar tissue called a callus. And this happens a lot in joints of birds that are injured. And that callus actually prevents her joint from moving. It's like this big hard ball of scar tissue and bone, and it really prevents any more mobility in that joint from occurring. So Gaia lives with us now permanently, and what happened after her injury had healed, she and her siblings were hopping around on branches in trees trying to get out on their own. This is what we call the branchling stage. So these guys, they usually nest way high up in pines and other sorts of trees, and they are not like other songbirds who can just kind of fall to the ground and be okay and build up their flight muscles on the ground. If they did that, they would get seriously injured. So she was in that branchling stage, kind of hopping around on the branches around her nest, working out her flight muscles just like all her other siblings. And then what happened is the rest of the family, I know, it's okay. The rest of the family, her parents included, took off. They all fledged. They went to learn how to hunt on their own. You're okay. I know. They went to learn how to hunt on their own. They went to go learn how to be owls, and she was left behind because she could not fly. So she was luckily found. Good morning, Naomi. Hello. She was luckily found pretty quickly by some folks who own the property that her tree was on, and brought to us. And because she was still really young, we were able to start working with her at a very young age. And Gaia, ever since, has been really, really attached to her handlers, very sweet, and a big fan of people. What's pretty cool is that right now, Gaia, I know, honey, Gaia is in the middle of helping us to raise some babies. So Gaia serves not only as an amazing ambassador to the Center for Wildlife, she also helps us to raise our patients. So she works on the education side and the clinic side. As an education ambassador, she does a lot of programs every year. I know there's a lot going on. Behind the camera, we have admissions coming in. We have our staff walking around. So she is seeing a lot, and it's also windy. It's okay. Good girl, Gaia. You're okay. You're okay. Good girl. You're okay. Nice job. Okay, so we got good morning, Naoma. We got just a lot going on over there, so I want to make sure Gaia's okay. Good girl. But anyway, Gaia helps us to teach quite a few programs every year. She's particularly popular at our owl prowls. So we have, in the winter, we have a series of programs where we will go out and call for owls. They will typically call in the late fall when they're kind of separating out from the nest, and then again in the early spring. So we have a lot of fun with Gaia in those winter months when we're kind of when we're talking a lot about our owls. I know, there's so much happening. Good girl. Hi, I know it's okay. Yeah, you're a good girl. Yeah, it's windy. So interesting how the animals seem to pick up on all of the weather that's happening. These guys are very sensitive. We'll notice a lot of changes in behavior when like hurricanes or major storms are coming or big snowstorms. These guys will start acting differently. It's really interesting. You're okay. I know. Good girl. But the other thing that Gaia does help us with is she actually is right now acting as a wonderful foster mom. So she is helping us to raise 2 baby owls, and we've talked about this a lot this summer because it's been just so fun to watch. She's raising 2 little foster babies. These guys are almost ready to be on their own, almost. They would normally spend a long, long time with their parents. So you're okay, honey. I know. So we are almost ready to get them out of Galileo and Gaia's enclosure, but we're just waiting a little bit longer. Melissa, good morning. Thank you so much for asking what their typical lifespan is. This is really cool, actually. So great horned owls can live a long time, especially in captivity. So in the wild, these guys have a pretty low risk, that's what we like to call it, low risk hunting strategy. They're not active hunters, they kind of sit and wait. So they are typically pouncing down on, good morning, Uncle David, hello. They are pouncing down on their prey. And if they're a good established older bird, they have a really good chance of making it up to like 20 years of age. So they do a really, really good job. The other thing that's really cool is that if they're in captivity, they can live even longer than that. If they have a steady, reliable access to food, they don't have to worry about predation or disease. These guys can live upwards of 40 years in captivity. So we're going to have Gaia with us for a really, really long time, and it's so great that she is so comfortable with people. And so just so happy living with us because she's going to be with us for a long, long time. Yeah, Jeff. So here, we'll back up a little bit. So Jeff, we discussed this probably before you got hopped on, but she has a broken elbow, and that's why she lives with us permanently here at the center. So Gaia is one of our ambassador animals. She has been with us ever since she was probably around 3 or 4 months old, and she most likely sustained that elbow injury. Yeah, it's windy. I know. she most likely sustained that elbow injury in the nest. So she is going to live with us for the rest of her life because she does have that injury that prevents her from being able to survive on her own. Can you stand normally, please? Sorry, she's just being a little bit of a chicken right now. I know, there's a lot happening. There is a lot happening. Yeah. Nice job. Good girl. Sorry, everybody. We just have a lot of admissions and things going on over there. Yeah, it's okay. Good girl. Nice job. So the two babies that she has with her right now have been with us since they were both in that nestling stage. They were both found around the beginning of the summer after they had been blown from their nest. So they were both found on the ground, unable to really fly or be on their own yet. Because they were very young. We had some windstorms early in the summer, and then we found quite a few owls after that. So, so she was brought to, or her babies were brought to us during that time, and they have been raised up with us, and now they're really fierce. They are really very much independent. They love to swoop and dive around the enclosure, so when we go in there, we have to be really careful. She's doing a great job of raising her babies. They imprint on their parents, so this means that they learn what they are supposed to act like, sound like, look like from other members of their species, and we call that imprinting. So having an adult great horned owl for those babies to imprint on is very, very important, and it's a big, big part of what we do with them. I know. Yeah, it's windy. Yeah. So, so Gaia here, she actually will help those babies to make it in the future on their own out in the wild, because she has made sure that they are imprinted on her, a great horned owl, and not a person. This happens actually where owls will imprint on people, and they become really friendly. Sometimes that friendliness can be seen as aggression because they are not acting the way that humans act, but they like people. They'll approach people more often, and that can sometimes be read as aggression. So it can actually make it harder for these owls to live on their own in the wild. And it also makes it hard for them to survive and do normal owl things like find a mate, call to one another. It can be really challenging for an imprinted owl out there in the wild. So we always want to make sure that our owlets and any of our baby birds come in and are raised to be wild. So Gaia's been doing this for this summer, and then Violet actually was just finally released from her babies. So Violet was in with 2 turkey vulture babies. You guys probably heard about this on last Saturday, but she did a fantastic job. Those babies are definitely wild, and they are now on their own in our big flight enclosure, building up their flight muscles, and they will be out ready to go too. So we are so excited that we've had 4 successful fosters this year. The barred owls also for a very short time had a foster who is almost ready to go out on her own too. So we've had a really good year for babies here at the center. We have those 2 great horns that will probably be leaving by the end of September. They'll spend a little bit of time in that big flight enclosure before they go, so they'll probably be taken out of Gaia and Galileo's enclosure in the next couple weeks, and then these guys can relax and take a little bit of time to not be parents anymore. But they do love it. We actually notice that they become very attached to their babies, and the babies become attached to them too. Galileo and Gaia each have kind of their own baby that will stay by them for the day. And when we go in there, they always seem to be sitting next to each other. So Gaia has her baby and Galileo has his. And they defend them. They get really big and scary and clack their beaks when their babies are, when we go in there, and they do a really good job. And when they're young too, they'll also help to feed them. So they'll go get the food and kind of show it to the baby. So they do a really good job. Udumbara asks, what's the proper feeding at different stages of her life? So actually, this is really interesting. A lot of the animals that we take care of eat different things at different stages of their lives, and mammals specifically will make very unique milk when their babies are born, and then kind of wean them off of that milk as they get older. But most birds don't make milk. So most birds will actually give their babies whatever they're eating, maybe just in a smaller portion size or mashed up a little bit. So what mama birds or what parent birds usually do is, especially for our raptors, like these big owls and hawks and falcons, they'll go hunt for a mouse and they'll rip it up with their beak and give their babies just little tiny pieces of that mouse. So they're actually eating the same thing. It just has to do with portion size. In some other birds, like mourning doves and pigeons, they will eat a bunch of seeds and then kind of grind that up in their crop and then regurgitate that and give that to their babies. And they call it crop milk, but it's really not milk. It's just kind of ground up stuff. But what's interesting is that little tiny babies, really, really small little babies that don't receive that, that food from their mother, from their mother's crop, actually have a really hard time building up a good immune system later in life, we've noticed. So when tiny, tiny little hatchling baby birds are brought to us at the center, we often find that they have a really hard time once they get bigger. And when they go out into the wild, you're okay, honey. You're okay. I know. You've gotten yourself all tangled. Yeah. Just a sec. We've gotten ourselves tangled up. Here we go. Good girl. She got herself all tangled. Nice job. So those baby birds, often, if they're not being fed by their moms, and they're not getting all of the healthy bacteria that the mom has in her mouth, all of the immunities that she might have, they actually have a really hard time building up that immune system on their own. So we noticed that the babies that are fed by their parents, even though it's the same thing we might be feeding them, do much, much better. So the longer they're in the nest with their parents, the more likely they are to be successful and go back out into the wild and do a good job. And this is also why we put them in with Galileo and Gaia, right? They might help us to help those babies build up the right immunity. We don't really know the extent to that because we're not swabbing mouths or doing testing on that sort of bacteria load, but it is very interesting. So they don't really eat different things at different stages in their lives. They'll eat pretty much the same thing their whole life, but it's going to be smaller when they're young, and in some birds it might be more ground up. And it is very important that it comes from their parents. That's a really good question. And in mammals, of course, that is very normal. They'll eat different things as they go through life. Thank you guys so much. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to answer them. Gaia here is just, keeping an eye on everything that's going on and the wind and everything, but she's doing good. So please let me know if you have any other questions. And as always, there is a donate button on all of our videos, and we greatly appreciate all of the support that we've gotten through these videos. They are incredibly helpful, especially in keeping us connected to folks that we would otherwise not be able to see or to reach. We've really missed being able to connect with you guys in person, but this is so great. We've been able to reach people on all different parts of the country, different parts of the world. It's really amazing. So thank you guys so much for your support. There is a donate button on all of our videos, most of our posts. I also just wanted to shout out that we've recently posted tickets to our open house. We're doing a very COVID conscious open house this year at our new facility. We are selling pre-registered tickets. Thank you so much, Kara. That is so sweet of you to donate. Oh, we really appreciate that. We are selling pre-registration tickets so that we don't go over max number of people, and everybody's going to be wearing a mask, and it's going to be outside. So it's going to be a really beautiful day, and the new center is amazing and looks just gorgeous. So we're really excited to show it off. But definitely look at our website for more information on that open house that'll be happening next month. Yeah, I know. What's going on? Oh, Kara, that is wonderful that you're able to give. We appreciate it so, so much. And every little bit counts. About 70% of all of our fundraising happens from individual donors giving just like you give. So that is amazing, and it helps us to do our work. So thank you so much. Good girl, Gaia. There's so much going on. I know. Yeah. Good girl. So something that a lot of people will get a little bit hung up on with great horns is the horns, right? So people will think that these feathers on the top of her head are horns. You'll also hear other owls being called eared owls, but they are actually just feathers, and they are very important for her camouflage. So when they stand up super straight and tall and they stick those feathers straight up in the air, they look just like a tree. They look just like tree bark. And you can see as the wind is blowing that Gaia's feathers are just feathers. Those feather tufts are just lots and lots of feathers. And when she's calmer and relaxed, they'll kind of be laying back like this. And then when she's in her full-on tree pose is when she's usually feeling a little bit like there might be a predator around, or she's a little bit more anxious. But when they're all kind of, you know, relaxed like this, that's usually a pretty good sign. What a good girlie. You're so good. I know. It's getting windy again, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer them, but it is getting a little bit windy here. The wind is definitely picking up, and Gaia is noticing. So you're okay. So we're gonna get her back in with her babies soon. Yeah, I know, it's okay. It's very windy here. We've got the rain yesterday and the wind today. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any other questions, though, please leave a note down below, and I'll get to them in the comments after. But yeah, we're going to get Gaia back in. Thank you guys so much for joining. We appreciate it. Sorry about the sunspot. Thank you guys.